Hi, so we're going to take a look at the Word version of our fiscal year 26 AOK initiative work plans. The document that I have open right here is the Child and Family Initiative. This should look very familiar. We've been using a Word version of this plan for many, many years. It should look familiar. What's different, as you can see on the side, that there are comments to give instruction and to give examples and formulas about how to create this sheet. So I can show those comments if I want by going under review at the top and show comments, or I can hide those if it feels too distracting to me as I'm trying to do my plan. I can also double click and that will open them up. I can't double click to make them go away though. Okay, so that's show comments and hide the comments. Okay, so your plan will be as usual. In the heading, you double click and you'll enter your AOK network name. Oops. And the date that you submit it. And we'll say month, date, and year. You'll notice that the initiative description and the overall results desired are pre-populated for you for the Child and Family Initiative. You will be updating the overall results desired with your own local AOK network targeted problem. Restated as positive outcomes since that's our overall result that's desired. So we want you to use the exact language that's in your approved targeted problem. That will help with consistency. So it's the same throughout every document that you've been using since you started the system assessment. Okay, you can read this, what our description of our initiative is. And starting in this table, it'll look a little bit different because we've streamlined the form just a little bit. So instead of having individual boxes for the short title, and for the number, we've just put that in the first row of our table. But your measurable objectives are going to be in the color green, and you'll have a SMART objective as measured by, so this should be very familiar. This is work that you've already been completing. So what does it mean to be an objective? Well, I can roll over to the side, I could look at this comment, and I can read. Objectives are measurable goals AOK networks work to accomplish during the 5-year CAP-AP cycle. Objectives address the system conditions impacting the outcomes in the targeted problem. And then we have a to-do. So what is the to-do? Create at least 2 measurable objectives. Number objectives sequentially over your 5-year cycle using a number format. The first number refers to the initiative number, and the second number refers to the objective number. We'd like you to create a short title describing the end goal of the objective. And this could be 2 words, 3, 5. There's no word limit on how you create the title. Here's where you will paste the SMART objective that you've been working on. So you will take it from your AOK Harvest document, you will copy it, and then you will paste it here. These are SMART, written as a SMART goal: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. Objectives may span 1 or more years, but no more than 5. Every objective should be written in this formula. So please do double check for every SMART objective. So by when, by what date, how many of who, so how many of who, meaning partners, how many of someone, some number of some people, okay, did something. They're going to do the opposite of the headline. And the goal is to increase the system outcome as a result of the approaches described below. As measured by, well, what does that mean? I can look at the comment. It describes the method and data sources that are used to measure progress or change over time. Please include the data sources that are available. They should be credible and easy to find. Your measures should be seen. You can observe them, heard, maybe I interviewed someone, or read. Maybe there's an assessment or a survey. as an example, you might think of a pre-survey to get beginning of year data. So that's our baseline, what's happening right now. And then end of year, post-survey of partners. So this might mean that I'm collecting data every year, annually, over a period of the life of my objective. So if my objective is to be completed in 2030, then I would check data every year, and then again at the end I could compare that 2030 data with my 2025 data. Okay. So here's your description. So we'd like you to use a formula. This is all described in other materials. For your approach, put in your measurable outcome. Remember that the outcome is easiest to remember if you think of it as a change, a behavior change. So outcomes measure results from the combination of your activities, the things you did, and the outputs, the products that you created. They're the ultimate effect or so what of your approaches. Maybe a number of ambassadors are participating where maybe they weren't participating before in decision making. We change that number from 1 to 6, 1 to 8. Maybe there's some number of partners from different sectors that are now sharing information with parents. Again, going from maybe 10 partners are sharing to 15 partners in 1 year. Our approaches are 1 year. Okay. What are you going to do in a year? As measured by, how am I going to know? What's the method? What's the data source that I'm going to use? And then what are some outputs that I might expect? So the product or reach that results from your approaches. A product would be anything that's tangible, created as the approach is implemented. Reach might be who, where, how many people or settings were reached as your approach is implemented. An example might be a work group reviewed some number of outreach materials from some number of organizations. A work group created some number part in a QRIS training series, or the work group created some number of French Creole early childhood system palm cards. These are just examples. All right, so again, there's a formula for our outputs. There's a formula for the outcomes. And as measured by. All right. The last thing that we want you to complete would be these measurable action steps. So action steps are the essential activities that are required to complete the approach this fiscal year. Since our approach is just 1 year, we break our action steps up by quarter. We want to write them out in a 3-month set, and we also like to follow a formula. So here, this is the first quarter, July 1st to September 30th. What will you do then? So I like to think of this just as a shorthand. What will I do over the summer? What will I do in the fall? What will I do in the winter? And what will I do in the spring? So those are just shortcuts that I use. So write it down and follow the formula. So each of the action steps has a formula, and it's the same thing. Who will do what, how often, using what tool? That will just hold you accountable. That'll help you understand who's going to be doing something and actually what you're going to be doing. So what's nice is that this plan is very easy as you are connecting the items to AOK Connect. So you will copy and paste your objective, your approach, and the initiative. So IOA, initiative, approach, objective and approach. You repeat the process for your second approach, including a description, the short title, outcomes as measured by, outputs, and then your action steps again. Okay, and there's that formula for every action step. Here's your second objective. Follows the same process. And you do this so that you have at least 2 objectives for every initiative. And then you will complete the same process for each of your plans, each of the initiatives. So for network capacity and also for information and referral. And if you have any questions, I'm here to help you out. So please do reach out, and hopefully this all makes sense. I think it's pretty good. We spent a lot of time trying to make it clear and easy to follow, but that may not always be the case. So again, always reach out for help. We're here for you. All right. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.